All right, here we are. We're back. Racing to Real Estate. I don't even remember what week this is, John, but it's getting up there. Eight? Is it eight or?
Oh, no, it's 9.
Maybe it might be 9. Yeah.
Remember what we decided with our math? Was you take the number of races we've had this year.
And subtract 1.
And plus 1, right?
No, because we started after Daytona.
Subtract 1, so 8.
Yeah, so
8.
I think you're right. I think it's 8.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
I had my math formula wrong. And so that's what 3 years of ninth grade will do for you. And I passed all 3 years of ninth grade.
Whatever episode it is, we're having fun. That's the important part, right, John?
Absolutely.
And we're getting some pretty good engagement, I feel like. I've had several people that text me or message me on social media and say, man, we listened to your podcast and we're a fan of it. And so that's cool to hear those comments and know that people out there are tuning in and listening along. So always fun.
That was the one thing I remember. 2 great pieces of advice for journalism. It said, if in order to do something on the air, whether it's radio or TV, you must entertain or inform. And then, or before you go and write a book, make sure you have something to say. And that was Joe Gibbs that said that to me. He said, they said, Joe Gibbs, you should write a book. And he said, well, here's the problem. I don't really have anything to say. But he said when he had something to say, he went and he wrote a book. So you got to make sure that you do one of those 3 things. You need to have something to say. You need to either entertain or inform. If you're 0 for 3, you shouldn't be on the air.
Yeah, you might as well not do a podcast or be on the air, right?
So we intend here to entertain and inform.
It's always our goal. Yeah. We want to do all 3, right? Mm-hmm. We have something to say. We want it to be entertaining, and we want to inform people. Yeah.
I've never had a problem there.
Yeah. So how's your week going so far, John? Everything going smooth for you?
Yeah, I've kind of been gopher boy this week. I've kind of been, which I don't mind doing that. Moving signs, putting signs here, collecting signs, changing them, taking stuff to mailboxes and running checks around. So, yeah, pretty much gopher boy, errand boy, but I don't mind it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. It looks
beats
like
digging ditches.
It does. Beats doing a lot of things. And we won't go into what all those things are, but there's a lot of things that beats. It looks like you got a little sun.
I did. We're outside today. Now, Josh, I have 3rd generation tomatoes in the backyard.
Third generation
tomatoes. So a couple years ago, I bought tomatoes that were certified non-GMO.
Okay.
Right? So organic tomato as you can, and huck the seeds out of them, let them dry out, put them in over the wintertime, put them in the ground. They grew like crazy. Mm-hmm. So before I cut them down, the last couple of tomatoes I harvested, I saved more seeds. So I put 2nd generation in last year. Grew like crazy. All organic, no additives whatsoever, all organic soil and everything.
Yep.
At the same time, I've been composting in the backyard. I've been reading up about composting and how you need to put stuff in your compost pile that's from around the area. The closer the compost is to your area, the more bacteria in the ground that's going to act well with it. So a couple of friends of mine, i.e. one being Chocolate Myers, he said, I tried to grow tomatoes. And by the time I figured it out, I spent about $39 on each tomato plant. By the time I was done, I could have gone to the store and bought twice as many tomatoes as they yielded. But I said, Chocolate, you're doing it the wrong way. Get your seeds for free. You compost, you get your dirt for free and your fertilizer for free, and then you let them grow. Let Mother Nature take its course. So I was messing with my tomatoes. My tomatoes are doing great. This year, tomatoes are doing fantastic. Got some kale in the ground.
Oh, wow.
Got some green peppers, too. Green peppers are growing like crazy. So,
Gardener John.
Yeah. Farmer John.
Farmer John, yeah.
I know a lot of farmers who are outstanding in their fields. Sorry, bad joke. It's like a joke without the funny part.
Yeah, I hear you. Well,
so what did you do? You're running like crazy.
Yeah, it's been a little hectic. Just a lot going on. Real estate stuff is busy. I closed on my personal house today.
Nice.
This morning, my new one.
Congratulations.
So, so I am once again a owner of my primary residence. It felt a little awkward for 3 or 4 months being a renter.
Yeah, you got to get your tomatoes in the ground.
Yeah, no, I probably won't do any tomatoes in the ground.
Much more important things to worry about.
Yeah, I'll probably have a pool in the ground soon, hopefully.
Like that.
But that'll be about the only thing going in the ground. So.
What's the address?
Yeah.
Got a pool over there?
It is here in Mooresville, and you will be invited, I promise. Once the pool is open, but that'll probably be next summer at this point, because pool manufacturers or the folks that help build pools, I'm finding out, are so backed up that it's just crazy. So.
Interesting thing about the real estate market right now and what's going on in this area, and I think it's pretty much nationwide from you find out. Especially also down the North Carolina coast. I had a buddy of mine the other day that we have one of his properties listed, and he said he owns a property down in Oak Island, North Carolina, and they got a little bit of hurricane damage, and so he went down there, and it's not severe, it's something that maybe he could tackle, but he wanted a pro to do it.
Sure.
So he contacted the pros at the coast. They told him, they said, they first of all, they said, we can get to you in late August.
Oh, wow.
And this is, what are we now, April?
Yeah.
April 16th?
Right.
17th?
Right. 17th,
And so we can get you in late August. But the thing is you're going to have more than that to do. That's too small of a job. There's going to have to be more. Can you get some of your neighbors involved, and we'll come and we'll work it.
Wow.
So that's what they're talking about down on the coast. It is so hard to find craftsmen and tradesmen in this area or any other area, because they're all, and it's hard to get anything constructed too. If you wanted to contract something right now, people are way out. Decks, additions, sunrooms, things like that, they're way out. But I think, though, that's a good sign of a healthy economy. Would rather have that be the situation, have it be hard to get something built, than to have a ton of guys standing around just waiting to build something.
Right, yeah.
Because that means they're working and everything. And that means, again, that's a good sign for the real estate market, because if contractors are building houses at that rate, and they're selling like crazy.
Yep.
Boy, just around the corner from us, Meeting House, Meeting Street.
Meeting Street, yep.
You had a property there you sold not too long ago on that little area right there.
Yep.
Well, down from that property, they made a row of pretty modern townhouses. They look cool.
The new construction was there,
new construction area. And so I was driving through there the other day. I looked over, so they got 4 units left. And I said, man, I remember when they broke ground on this thing. Not too long ago, they just started building it, and they're beautiful. They're really nice, really modern type townhome looking things. And I guess you call it a condo or a townhome, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
The fact of the matter is, they sold like crazy.
Yeah, they're townhouses over there.
Townhouses,
because you actually own the dirt.
Yeah, okay.
So you own a small sliver of land, and when I say a small sliver, I mean a small sliver. It's like 0.02 or 0.03 of an acre. But you do own the dirt. That's the difference between townhouse.
Condo,
right? Absolutely.
Condo you own from the drywall in, correct?
Yeah, condo you own no dirt. Yeah, you own no land.
Yeah, there's no land involved in it. Townhome, there's land involved.
Townhome, there's land involved. Yep, that's right.
That's interesting. But those things they're pretty near selling, so I'd say it's just a good sign.
Yeah.
Things are going well.
Yeah,
right now,
absolutely. Real estate market is good. We've been staying busy, and I tell you, John, I mean, I just keep getting inquiries. I got a text 10 minutes before we started this show from somebody that is eager to get underway with selling their home and buying a new one. And I'm getting those kind of texts almost daily now. So it is a good thing, and a lot of it's timing. I mean, the springtime always is a hot time of the year for real estate. The economy continues to do well. Interest rates continue to stay historically low, which is getting a lot of people off the fence and wanting to buy. So overall, it's a crazy market, but it can be trying on us as realtors at times, because we're running like crazy. I've not been home before 8:00 yet this in the last couple of weeks, 8:00 at night, and I'm usually out of the house by about 7 in the morning. It's just a full day of running. So
that also says something. If we can, for just a second, Josh, if we can I don't want to break my arm patting ourselves on the back, but I had this great boss I used to work for. His name was Jim Shaver. And Shaver was one of the best bosses ever. There was no gray area with Jim. He told you what was on his mind.
Yep.
And so everybody in the little TV newsroom, they were all up in arms because the other station in town, the other TV station in town, they put up billboards all over the town.
Okay.
And everybody's going, oh my God, Channel 10's got billboards now, man. We got to get billboards if we're going to compete with them. We got to have our faces all over the town like all these other news people do. And everybody walked away, and Shaver turned to me and he goes, John, you can put Tide on the side of a race car. If it doesn't wash clothes, no one's going to buy it.
That's right.
So he's saying, we have a better news product. He said the best promotion is a good product. not how much you advertise or not what kind of promises you make on a billboard and everything. So when people are texting and calling you, that's the accolade you need. That's the pat on the back you need. You don't need fancy advertising. You don't need a slick campaign. You need people coming back to you and people in the word of mouth. And, so far, some of the people that we've talked to recently that have been repeat customers, that speaks volume. That means that our tide on the side of race cars is washing clothes.
Yeah. No, that's true. And there's something, there's something to be said about that. It's not, we spend a lot of money, both as agents, you do, I do, and Anchor Real Estate does in marketing our listings. And that's a big difference though between advertising and marketing, right? We do a lot social media wise. We do a lot, to make sure our listings get a lot of traffic and a lot of eyeballs on them. But in terms of acquiring, so to speak, clients, that's not really something that we spend a lot of money on. We don't do the billboards. We don't buy, leads from, some of the big portals out there that sell them. Our business, you're right, is definitely more word of mouth for referral business.
We put the resources into advertising your property.
Right.
To get the word out there.
Yeah.
And also I think there has something to be done. We had a guy not too long ago. He called on a Sunday afternoon. I picked the phone up right away, and he said, "Do you ever stop working?" And I said, "Well, I don't really consider this work. Talking to you about buying he was a buyer, and we're working with him to buy a home." And he said, "Do you ever stop working?" He said, "It's crazy. I called you and you picked up right on a Sunday afternoon." I said, "Well, yeah. I mean, I would rather." Again, you can go out and dig ditches and from Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. But if this isn't work to you, if it's pleasure, I have no problem because, quite frankly, I like the dude a lot. I like the guy a lot. So I talk to him anyway, and we have 10 minutes to talk about golf before we even talk about his thing. So it's it's the friendly thing, it's the repeat customer thing, and it's also the availability thing. Is that we're here, and it just doesn't matter. I don't mind if someone calls at 10 at night. I really don't.
Right. No. Yeah. I
honestly don't.
Jokingly tell people I'm 24/7. Now, if you call me at 2 a.m,
probably be asleep.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to answer. Yeah. Right. But
well, I'll call at 7.
Yeah, but I will call early. I'll call you early when I wake up. John, did I ever tell you the story? Kind of along those same lines. And you mentioned somebody calling you on Sunday. I think it was. I'd have to look back at my records and see if this was 2015 or not, but for some reason I think that's about right. So as a two or so years into my real estate career, and I got a phone call from just a random phone number. This was on Saturday afternoon, about 4:30 in the afternoon. Just a random local number, Charlotte number, and I answered it. And they said, "Oh, we weren't really expecting you to answer. We were figuring we would leave you a voicemail." But since he answered, we were interested in looking at this house. Well, back then, as I was trying to grow my book of business, I was doing some advertising on Zillow. And so I was buying some leads, and I was what was called a premier agent. So when a prospective home buyer was looking around on Zillow, I would be one of the 3 or 4 agents that would pop up, call this person for more information.
Yes.
So that's how I got the call. And they said, "We're looking at this house in downtown Mooresville. It's listed for $125,000. We would like to see it. What's your availability?" And this is 2015. It's a hot market. There's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, sure was.
And not too many agents that'll drop what they're doing and go show a $125,000 house because they know, that's not a huge thing, and we got bigger fish to fry, and but. I said, "Absolutely. What's your availability?" And they said, "Well, the house is vacant. Can we see it today?" So, "Well, sure. Let's go over there. I'll meet you there at 5:30. We'll take a look." I didn't know these people. Long story short, it turns out they were buying this home for their mother who was relocating here from California. They paid cash for that house. And then shortly after that, they liked my services so much they helped me. They allowed me to list their house in Bay Crossing, which we sold for about $800,000. They bought a $2 million house in the Point. So from that answering that one phone call on a Saturday afternoon when the other 3 agents that they tried first wouldn't, I ended up making some lifetime friends and some great real estate clients, so you just never know when that phone rings who it's going to be.
Yeah.
So that's why I say I'm 24/7, man. Call me and I will do my best to answer, because you never know what the call is going to be,
Yeah. Another great real estate story. Before I was involved in the business whatsoever, my wife Tracy was, and she had a client she was working with in Nashville. She had her Tennessee license. And it's funny. The client was not. It was I guess the client's daughter or something was married to a very famous actor.
Okay.
So she was attached to a very famous actor at the time. But that was neither here nor there. So I had just gone out with her, to show this lady, a really nice lady, and we were looking at places, and she kept losing places in Nashville. Actually, Franklin, Tennessee.
Okay, yeah.
Franklin, Tennessee was just the hottest market that when something came on the market, there were 5 offers by the end of the day,
Sure.
and sucker was gone. And so we had shown this. I'd been just along for the ride, just helping, but Tracy had shown these people just a ton of houses. So it was just our normal thing. It was it was weekend. And we drive back over here to Mooresville. Mm-hmm. And the minute we get back to Mooresville after a 6.5 hour drive, lady calls up and says, "Hey, townhouse just went on the market in the place." And so Tracy is, "Oh my God, all that work! I'm going to have to now refer this out."
Yep.
Because if she doesn't see it tomorrow morning,
she'll miss out.
And get one of the offers in, because there's going to be multiple offers. It's going to be a full price sale. Mm-hmm. She's going to miss out on it. She goes, "Well, I got to figure out somebody to call, and can I find somebody to call?" And so we were pulling in here in town, and I said, "You know what?" I said, "Instead of there's a truck out there in the parking lot. We got a condo there. Let's go to sleep 4 or 5 hours.
Yeah.
Get rested up. So we're safe. Put the dogs back in the truck, drive back over there. We'll show that place 9 o'clock tomorrow morning." And she said, "You would do that?" And I said, "Yeah, I'd be willing to do that to help you out. Absolutely." And she goes, "Well," I hate to lose this." So we jumped back, slept for a few hours, jumped back in the truck, drove back to Nashville.
Yeah.
And met her there 9 a.m., showed the house. Oh, boy, this is the one she wants. Absolutely, 100% the one she wants. So we told her, we said, "Hey, look, there's going to be, if you want to put an offer on the end of the day of this thing, you better be slightly above asking price, because we know there's going to be multiple offers." So we said, "What's your tolerance?" Or I say we, it was Tracy talking. I'm an observer. "What's your tolerance?" I'm willing to go maybe $5,000 over or something like that. What's your absolute tolerance? So they go, they put in the offer, $5,000. Lady got the place.
Nice.
Lady got the place. So instead of us having 3 extra hours of sleep, we made that little sacrifice, and it turned out to be the exact right thing to do, because her initial thing was, "Well, I got to refer it out because now I'm in North Carolina."
Yeah.
And she's over. I said, "Well, no, let's go get it.
Yeah.
Let's go do that thing."
Yeah. And you don't always make those decisions or do those things with the dollars in your mind. It's just, you feel like it's what you need to do. Yeah. It's the client. It's in the best interest of the client, right? It's what you need to do, and so, man, that's awesome. I've been there. I haven't drove that far to show a property on a whim.
That was a little bit
but
far
man,
out there.
That's cool that you did that. I probably would have done the same thing. I have kind of gotten a phone call on a Friday at lunchtime before from a NASCAR driver or somebody like that says, "Hey, I want to talk to you about some real estate stuff, but man, I'm at the racetrack all weekend. Next week's crazy." And I've jumped in the car and drove to Martinsville or drove to Bristol or something and said, "Hey, I'll meet you at the racetrack. We'll go have dinner." And
it's the easiest word, but sometimes it's I think there are 3 relationships in our society right now that I think have gone downhill and have gone the wrong way. The one is the client-vendor relationship. Look, the client calls the shots. The vendor doesn't call the shot. The client is buying the product, no matter what it is.
Yep.
Client calls the shot. Vendor needs to serve the client. The other one is boss, employee.
Sure.
In this day and age, people feel like I'm the employee, I can demand. No, you're not. The boss makes the call.
Right.
on the employee. If you don't like it, you can cruise. And the other one is the parent-child relationship, to where the child thinks that they are calling the shots.
Yeah.
And I was surprised when I remember, Justin, when I was playing high school football, you didn't look half cross-eyed at one of our coaches.
Right.
You didn't say a word. You didn't talk back and everything. And I used to cover a lot of high school football here in the Charlotte area, starting about 1994, 95. Mm-hmm. And I would just go to these practices in the afternoon and watch these kids talk to their coaches.
Yeah. A lot different, huh?
Whoa, it's different. Our coaches would have whipped our butts, would have ran them into the ground. So I think those relationships have kind of been lost over the years. You don't, as a vendor, as a service provider, if you're supposed to be a service provider, you don't call the shots.
Right.
You don't say, "Hey, come to me." What we're doing here, and you have the same perspective on it as I do, but I think a lot of other people may be losing it over the years. If you have a prospective client, you do what they say. You go to them.
Yep.
You help them. You act in their best interest, not in your best interest. Because we had good friends of ours now, came to town, and they were looking at 3 different houses. And the difference in the houses were we're talking about maybe $500,000 in price between these 3 houses that they were looking at. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I said, quite frankly, you guys would be better fit to take the lowest of those. That most expensive one is not you.
Yeah.
It's not what you told me you were looking for.
Right.
You like it because it's fancy.
Right.
But it's way overpriced.
Yeah.
And they said, aren't you supposed to sell us the highest price one? And I said, no, I'm not, because I want you to talk to me in 5 years. I want 5 years from now, I want to be friends. I want you to be happy with what you got. And the one that was, out of the 3, it was $500,000 less. Mm-hmm. And they took that one.
Right.
Bought that one.
And do they love it?
With it. And they love it.
They love it. Yeah.
It would have been stupid for them to spend $1.5 million on this other dang house.
Right. Yeah. If it didn't check all their boxes or wasn't,
if
it wasn't for them, then absolutely. Some people get caught up by the shininess or the, fresh paint and the neat fixtures.
Yeah, nice water view and everything. But you guys don't. That was not what you were.
That wasn't one of your priorities when you first started. So, no, that's cool. Yep. Well, good deal. Well, it sounds like you and Tracy are staying busy with all your real estate stuff, and I know you are, because we catch up pretty much daily, and we know what
we see each other once a week. That's what we're working. But that's good though. That's what we're supposed to do.
That is. That's right. All right, John. Well, let's dive in here. What do you want to do? You want to do a little recap of Richmond? Did you watch some of the?
I can see. Yeah, I loved the race. I thought Richmond was one of the, again, like Bristol, the short track races are some of the better things. And it wasn't easy for Truex to win the sucker. He had to hold off some charging drivers that are great there as well. But what was interesting about Martin, and we did get a chance to talk to him day before yesterday. He had, Martin's done a lot of things in his career. A lot of great things in his racing
career. Yep.
One thing he hadn't done in 80 tries is win a short track race.
Right.
And so going into the weekend, we get bombarded with statistics from all these different services that we subscribe to. And the one thing I said, wait a minute, is this right? Truex had led the most laps in 4 of the last 5 Richmond races. So 4 out of the last 5 Richmond races, he had probably the best car, but just didn't win. It just didn't come together. So this time it came together. And so I asked him, I said, how racers are. They look at streaks. They look at things. They look at them pretty hard.
Yep.
If you've won one race a year for however many years, they want to keep that streak alive.
Right.
And they want to end winless streaks and everything. And so I said, how big of a deal is it for you to now be able to check off I've won on a short track? And he said, honestly, it's cool, but it's not that big of a deal because he had run second at so many short tracks.
Right.
Led the most laps at so many short tracks. But then when he won his, at the time, Busch Series championships, won 2, he was the king of the short track.
Right.
He kicked everybody's butt on short tracks in the Busch Series.
That's
Busch
right.
Series.
Yep.
So it was just cool. I mean, he was happy about it for sure. But the biggest thing for him was winning the first race as an official Joe Gibbs Racing driver, and then again now he's locked in the playoffs.
Right. Yeah. No, and I agree. It's funny that he was so we could say dominant, at Richmond in 4 out of the last 5 races and couldn't put the deal together.
Just never won.
And then this weekend, probably, arguably not the best car, but was able to put it together and pull it off for a win.
Yeah, I think almost anybody would say after that, Kyle Busch had the best car.
Kyle Busch had the best car, and arguably you could put Joey Logano in that mix. You know what I mean?
True.
Joey ran strong all day, and I think had there been a few more laps, Joey might have put enough pressure on Martin to either get around him or move him out of the way or make Martin make a mistake. Who knows? But he was coming in a hurry.
Yeah.
And I was tensed up watching them the last couple laps, wondering, is Joey going to put the bumper to him again, or are we going to see another Martinsville move?
Yep.
Because he got pretty close there on that last lap. And but man, good race.
And that was the excitement. That was the excitement factor. So when you talk about making changes to the NASCAR schedule, that they're saying that they made some pretty major ones for 2020.
Yeah.
But 2021 is the year where you can really
expect to see
make a big deal. And I think anybody, unless you're just not paying attention or you're not very bright,
right?
Anybody looks and see, man, these short tracks are where a lot of the excitement is. You got to have the big ones. You got to have Daytona, Talladega. You got to have the major markets.
Yeah. You got to do your Charlotte, your Atlanta, your Homesteads, your Phoenixes. You got to, you got to keep those. But
them short tracks. We have 3 that are under a mile, and they provide some of the best stuff. So, and again, I said it last week, but I'll just reiterate once again. Here's the free advice to somebody: if you want to make that big change in your racetrack and you want to keep 2 dates, build Richmond in the middle of your track.
Yeah.
Run one race on the big track.
Yep.
Next time everybody comes in, you run the second race. Mm-hmm. That way you attract different crowds.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Because that's what Marcus Smith did at Charlotte with the Roval.
With the Roval. Yep.
Yeah. So now you got 2 different. Well, actually, they got 3.
3 with the All-Star race.
All-Star, they got 3.
Yeah.
So that's. That's just it's kind of a no-brainer after watching something like Richmond. It's just that's where the excitement is right now.
Yeah. No, it's fun, and even going back to Bristol last weekend.
Race.
Martinsville a few weeks ago was a great race.
Great race.
These short tracks are putting on great shows.
Yeah.
The action's good. The passing is good. So I agree. I mean, the more of that we can see, the better.
Yeah.
And who knows what 2021 holds? Maybe they'll try to sneak in some extra short track events. We'll see.
There's places out there that are ready to go.
Yeah.
There's places out there that are saying, come to my town, and I will welcome you with open arms.
Yeah, absolutely. Got to give a shout out to Cole Custer winning the Xfinity race. That was pretty neat to see. He had a good car. He had a good car the weekend before and wasn't able to close the deal at Bristol. I think he had a real fast car. He was, really good there, and something happened at the end of the race, and I think he ended up second or third or something. I don't remember, but I remember him being extremely frustrated in his interview after Bristol that he felt he had a really good dominant car and wasn't able to get the win. So cool to see him come back at Richmond and get a little redemption and win. So that was neat to see on Friday night. I love the nighttime racing.
It's always been cool.
Yeah, it's fun to see. You see the sparks from the cars. You see, it puts you in a different frame of mind. I think that nighttime racing does.
And I like it. I like it so much better personally. But do you know that they the idea for the night races, everything was Sunday afternoon. For a long time.
Yep.
I think it's Sunday afternoon at 1. And then they started running some stuff. Well, first Charlotte Motor Speedway, of course, the Innovators. They had they had the All-Star race under the lights, and they said, "Hey, man, this is pretty cool." Well, they said, "You know what, man? We need to do this because we could get a Saturday night primetime audience, and it'll boost the crap out of TV ratings."
Right.
Didn't
really happen, did it?
Never happened.
Yeah. I mean, it used to be both Richmond races were Saturday night. Right, now they moved one of them to
the fall, right?
The fall race is Sunday now, and they say because of ratings, they feel like they get better, better ratings and more people coming to the racetrack on a Sunday versus a Saturday night.
Which
I love the Saturday night races, but I grew up Saturday night racing at short tracks, so that's
a lot of people did.
Yeah,
and I don't know why, but I just think that you need to look at the sport. You need to look at it as a whole and see what worked. I mean, you need to do that anywhere. Anything you're doing. You can try new stuff. And you can try, because I don't like, there's 2 things I hate to hear. And people like to say it all the time. They say, hey, why are we doing that? Oh, that's the way we've always done it.
Yeah.
Well, the way we've always done it is a bad statement to make. But there's also another bad statement to make, and we hear it a lot in meetings because people want to say, hey, man, let's do this because it was different. Let's do this because it's different. And I always say the Titanic was different. There's different good and different bad. And try it. If it doesn't work, okay, so we tried things.
Yep.
We tried a lot of different things, and they just didn't work. And when you compound it by trying even more wacky stuff, because that didn't quite work, you get in a downward trend. You get a downward cycle. Yeah. But sometimes go back to, okay, we went away from that and we lost, right?
Yeah.
We went away from something and we lost. So don't be afraid to go back.
Yeah,
sometimes
don't be afraid.
You can go back.
Go back to what you know.
Yeah.
And
go back to what you know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Interesting side note about it. I thought it was really interesting. Tony Stewart was, I think you'll remember this, and a lot of race fans remember this. Tony Stewart was having all this success in NASCAR. I mean, he's winning races, he's kicking ass, but he's sad. He's not having a good time.
Right.
He's depressed, and it's just not. He doesn't like the crowds. He doesn't like this, that, or other things. So he went to a couple sports psychiatrists, and one dude asked him, and I thought this was pretty interesting. Almost anybody should maybe look at this if just things aren't going right. He said, when were you the happiest? When were you the happiest? He said, I was the happiest in high school at this period of time. Okay, so the guy goes, where did you live when you were happiest? Mm-hmm. What kind of music did you listen to? Who did you hang out with? What were the aspects of your happiest time of your life? So what Tony did was he bought his parents' old house where he lived, and he moved back in.
Yep.
And he started just doing all the things. He just went back to when he was happiest. And I think I never heard anything quite after that as to how it all worked out.
Yeah.
But obviously it worked out pretty well because Tony seems to be a pretty happy guy right now.
Right now, yeah.
So
absolutely.
I remembered reading that, and I remember hearing that, and that was pretty interesting that dude said, when were you happiest?
Yeah.
Go back there. When was NASCAR happiest? When we were doing this, that, and the other thing. Now, you can't, understandably so, I'm not talking about going back to North Wilkesboro.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about going back
Those
to
days are
Rockingham.
done. Yeah.
There's some ships that have sailed.
Yep.
But there are some things that we were doing as a sport, and
sure.
that the sanctioning body was doing as a sanctioning body, that were working. And so don't be afraid, when were we happiest?
Right.
We were doing this, that, and the other thing. We'll go back there.
Yeah. No,
to a certain extent.
To a certain extent. And it's got to make financial sense, right? And
It has to make financial sense, for sure.
I mean, I think back to, that has me thinking, just as you're saying that, I'm thinking, well, when was, what did NASCAR, used to do in the glory days that is so much different than now? And the first thing that popped in my mind was, I remember as a youngster going to races with my parents. Mm-hmm. We flew down to Daytona with my dad, or we went to Indy, or wherever we would go. And one of my favorite things to do, and it was a family thing. My mom, my dad, me, my brothers, we would spend time going to the souvenir trucks and looking at all the T-shirts
souvenir
and
dollars.
Yeah, and that
They're
stuff
gone.
don't exist
They're
anymore.
gone.
Yeah, they just don't do it. And I'm not saying that they should bring those back, but a part of me says, man, it would be nice to have a souvenir row at the racetrack again.
Yeah, it's the carnival atmosphere.
Yeah,
it's a carnival atmosphere around a track, and I think a lot of guys are looking at that. They're trying to do that. They're trying to get back to that, because you do need to make it a little bit more of a spectacle. I was trying to just take note. There's a much bigger story behind all of this, but and no time to go into it now. But we went to a Major League Baseball game in Atlanta.
Yeah.
From the race was on Sunday, was Saturday night. Went to a Atlanta Braves game, and damn thing was sold out.
Sure.
It was packed, and I knew the following day that the Atlanta grandstands for the race are going to pretty much be barren. It's they were struggling to sell tickets to the racetrack. So I was looking at the experience of the baseball game, of the Major League Baseball game, and I was trying to take it in. Well, it was very, very bright, very, very loud. Lots of music cranking.
Sure.
Lots of fanfare, but also lots of it was a carnival atmosphere. There was a lot of stuff going on outside. Now, granted, and I think you're right about that, Jess. You hit a There really isn't at the racetrack these days the kind of carnival atmosphere that there used
There
to
isn't.
be outside.
There isn't. No.
It's almost a little bit more too businesslike that you're walking in there to see the race.
Yep.
And it needs to be a spectacle. It needs to be special. And it needs to be something that you can't get someplace else.
That's
and
right.
What you can't get someplace else with the NASCAR race is you don't get that speed. You don't get the smells and of the burning rubber and
the noise
and
and
the noise and that's all special. And this is, as old Ken Squire put it, this is the common man doing uncommon things.
Yeah.
Behind the wheel of these race cars, and so that's still there. That still exists.
Yep.
And the people are trying. I mean, the SMI guys they're trying. They're trying like crazy.
They are.
But it's like you said, it just has to make financial sense to do it.
Right.
They can't just open up the wallets and say, well, let's make a carnival atmosphere out here. Let's do this, that, or the other thing. Well, somebody's got to pay for it.
That's right. That's right.
And you can't guarantee you're going to get this.
You can't guarantee you're going to get the return. Yeah. So it's a tough business to be in for sure. Oh, well, John, another tough business for us to be in right now is this dang NASCAR props challenge. We go through these every week and pick, and we always say on the show that we're going to do better the next week, and this week we didn't do worse. Mm-hmm. So that's something to be said. But we scored 2 points last week for Richmond.
Flat is the new up.
Yeah. So we missed 4 questions. We got 6 right. So we scored 2 points, and we are going to do our best to do better. Now this week, John, obviously with an off week coming up, we don't have Talladega prop bets posted yet. So we will review them next week on the show and go through. But John, our goal needs to be to score 3 points.
We got to run better.
Yeah, we got to do better.
We got to run better.
Yeah. So let's look quickly since we don't have to pick.
I'm glad we don't.
Yeah, so we don't have to pick for this weekend since they're
off of that.
Yeah, let's look at the 4 that we got wrong and see what we did here. So the first one that we got wrong, let's see. There has been an average of 15.8 lead changes in the past 4 races at Richmond. Are we over or under 15.5 lead changes? Man, every week we talk about this, and we always say, last week we said under, so this week we need to say over, and it goes back and forth every week. So I don't know how we're ever going to get that one right. It's just a luck of the draw, I guess. But we said over, we were wrong, so there was less than 15.5 lead changes.
Which is amazing. On a dang short track.
Yeah. We definitely thought that it would be over, but we were wrong. Next one, over, under. Martin Truex Jr. scores 10.5 stage points at Richmond. We chose under. So we thought that he would score less than 10.5 stage points, and he scored more than 10.5 stage points. So we lost a point on that one.
That was tough.
That was a tough one.
It's
hard to say, Next one we got wrong. Over, under. Hendrick Motorsports has 1.5 drivers finish in the top 10. We said over, so we thought at least 2 Hendrick drivers would finish in the top 10, and 2 did not. I don't remember who the best finishing Hendrick driver was. I know a couple of them got hit with qualifying penalties and had to start at the back.
Yeah, so
I think Jimmy and Chase both, if I'm not mistaken.
And they just never recovered.
Yeah, they just never recovered.
It's another one of those weekends for these guys.
Yeah, circumstances. And then the last one that we got wrong, from 2015 through 2017, each Richmond race winner started outside the top 5. Will this week's winner start inside the top 5? We said no, they would not, and evidently they did. So Truex must have started in the top 5. I don't recall exactly where he started, but I know that the whole running order got a little jumbled up there because several people in the top 10, I think 4 of the top 10 had to go to the tail, if I'm not mistaken. So,
that was a tough one.
Yeah, so, it is what it is, but, we will look forward to picking for Talladega. Maybe Talladega being a super speedway, will be a little more predictable. But man,
it's going to be tough.
You just don't know. You want to say like lead changes. You would think Talladega lead changes. Man, there's going to be a ton of them, right? So you would say, oh man, it's got to be over, whatever number they're going to suggest.
Yeah,
But
then one guy's going to lead everything.
yeah, it's just hard to say. But anyway, we 2 points. At least we were positive. There's been a couple of weeks this year, John, where we've been negative points.
Or flat.
Yeah, or zero. So, all right, we'll look out for Talladega. I think that stuff posts on NASCAR.com on Tuesdays, if I'm not mistaken. So, fun game to play. Just play at NASCAR.com. Sign up. It's free to play. It doesn't cost you anything. It's fun to follow along and check it out. So, while we are talking about NASCAR and NASCAR.com, John, let's jump in and look over our fantasy Anchor Real Estate NASCAR Fantasy League results. We do have to, John. It's important. We've grown a little team here.
Yeah, we can only look when we do well. When then we never look.
Right. So Richmond, I'll jump over to the actual results here in just a minute. Just looking at my lineup here from Richmond, I went ahead and kind of packed what I called an all-star lineup. Mm-hmm. This is the first race all season that I've played last year's Big Three in the same race. So I had Harvick, I had Kyle Busch, I had Truex Jr. As 3 of my 5 starters. My other 2, I had Kurt Busch, who this was my 3rd time using him this year, and then first time choice was Chris Buescher. Mm-hmm. I thought Chris qualified pretty well there. Yeah. I think Chris ran great at Bristol last weekend. Yeah. He's a hell of a short track racer.
It's underrated.
Yeah. So I picked Chris in my 5 starters. I had my garage pick as Austin Dillon. Through the first couple of stages, Chris was up front. He was in the top 5, 6. Definitely in the top 10. And was further ahead of Austin Dillon, so I left him in at stage 2. I didn't pull him and put Dillon in. And then stage 2 or the final stage just did not go Chris's way. Mm-hmm. I think they had a bad pit stop, lost a few spots if I'm not mistaken, and then they just had trouble. They had a bad restart. They lost positions. I think he ended up 18th or 19th or something like that. And Austin Dillon ended up working his way up and having a top 10, I believe. Yeah. So hindsight, looking at it, I should have swapped Dillon. I should have brought Dillon out of the garage for Buescher, but I didn't before the start of the final stage. So I scored my least amount of points with Buescher. I could have scored 31 with Austin Dillon. I scored 20 with Chris.
Still not bad.
Not bad. My bonus picks, I did not pick a pole award winner again. I was under the impression qualifying was going to be rained out. And then they ended up getting it in, and I forgot to make a pick, and so I lost out there. I had Harvick as my Stage 1 winner, which he did not. I finished 4th. I had Kyle Busch as my Stage 2 winner, which I thought, the way the race was going, I was going to score 10 bonus points there. Mm-hmm. He had a bad pit stop, or sped on pit road, got sent to the back in the second stage, and finished 15th at that stage, so... then I had Kyle Busch as my race winner. He finished 8th. And I had Ford as my manufacturer winner. And the highest Ford finished 2nd. So I scored 0 bonus points last week.
Gotcha. So here was my thought process that by rule, if qualifying got rained out, Kyle Busch would be your pole sitter by the rule book.
Okay. So but it goes by practice, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
and he was fastest in practice? Okay, yeah.
So Kyle's going to be your pole sitter. So here's why cheaters never prosper. So I really quick went in there.
Picked Kyle Busch.
I picked Kyle Busch to sit on the pole because I said, they ain't going to get... I was looking at the weather radar. I said, they're not going to get this in.
Right.
And guess what they did?
They got it in.
And Harvick got the pole.
Yeah.
Not Kyle, so...
Dang it.
Cheaters never prosper.
That's right.
But I thought I'd keep him anyway because he was a good shot at getting the pole anyway.
Yeah. Now, do you remember, did you have Kyle in your 5 starters?
Yes.
Yeah. So,
and also had him as Stage 1 winner. So I believe we got.
So you might have got. So you got some bonus points for that. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Now
that's
where that put us overall, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, so here looking at Richmond results, Biff's girl, which is Christina, that's Greg's girlfriend. She won the Richmond in the league. She scored 240 points. So shout out to Christina. Good job. Who I also seen. This isn't my social media shout out, by the way, John. We'll get into that in a minute. But I did see on social media that Christina was celebrating down in Charleston, South Carolina today with all of the 30 under 30 realtor contestants or winners. So shout out to her again on that. That's really cool to make that.
And I think also she has a little bit of inside information.
She's
got some help.
Yeah.
But still, hey, however you can get it done.
However you can get it done. I think Greg might be whispering in her ear, pick this person or pick that person. And hey, she's got his ear right now, so that's that's right. But congrats to her.
No sour grapes or anything.
No, that's right.
However you can do it.
CLT 330 guy, John. That's your guys' client. You and Tracy's Roger. Yep. He was second place this week. 227 points. Rubbin is racing. Not sure who that is. 220 points. And third, Cliff Swinger was fourth. He's good friends of mine, Cliff and Julie. They're also friends of Christina and Greg, and so that's kind of our little clique that runs around. So congrats to Cliff. Fourth place finish, 217. Patrick Duncan, seems like we talk about him every week. He rounded out the top five with 214 points. Looking through here, got LKM Broker, that's myself. I wrapped up Richmond in 8th with 198 points scored. And the Roberts team, you guys wrapped up Richmond in 11th out of 15 with 181 points scored. So
at least we weren't last.
You weren't last. If
you're not first, you're last. But
that's right.
We're not last.
That's right. You aren't last. All right, so let's take a quick look overall. Rubbin is Racing is leading our league. We don't know who you are, Rubbin is Racing. So if you're listening to our podcast, shoot John or I a text or a message on social media and let us know who you are so we can give you some extra props on the show. CLT 330 guy, Biff's girl, P. Duncan, and Pirate Girl is Leah, Roger's wife. Yeah. So both Roger and Leah in the top five, along with P. Duncan, and Rubbin is racing. Christina Ann is in third. So overall, man, it looks like I'm in 10th place. I dropped down. I think I was 9th last week. I got 1,580 points total against 1,828 to the leader. So I'm 250 plus points out of first. The margin keeps growing, John. It's going to get tougher and tougher. We always say it's a long season to go, but man, we're 9 races in or whatever it is now. So, we need to start making up some ground if we want to do it. You guys are still 15th. 1,261 points scored against 1,828, so about 550-ish. Yeah, so you gotta have to start making up some big gains here.
Hey, we ain't gonna quit. We're gonna run hard.
Absolutely. Anyway, so that's a lot of fun. That's the NASCAR Fantasy Live. That's also on NASCAR.com. It's free to play. If you do want to play and you're not playing yet, when you sign up, you get the opportunity to join a league. Join John and myself and everybody else in our league. It's fun. So we are Anchor Real Estate. Look us up if you have any questions or need help joining. Shoot us a message or a text or a phone call. We will walk you through the steps to get joined. It's a lot of fun. All right, John, what else do we got? So we've talked a little bit about Richmond. We've done our Fantasy Live, our NASCAR props. We've talked a lot about real estate at the beginning of the show. So let's jump in and do a little social media shout-outs before we round out the show here this week. John, what do you got for social media?
Okay, so the other day it was National Pet Day. And our friend Jamie Little from Fox Sports, she had put out, she's big advocate of the doggies and the kitties.
She is, yeah.
Oh, yeah, she's
absolutely.
working hard.
She got to go and do the... do the Westminster Dog Show, I believe.
Yes, she did.
This year, yeah.
And I was jealous.
Yeah, I've seen a lot on social media about that.
Yeah,
so cool.
And she also helped, who had the doggies on the car? Two weekends ago. Wasn't Newman, it was Hemrick. Hemrick had some doggy thing on the car that she helped them out with, too. So that was really cool. But she had put out, hey, this is National Pet Day. I want to see your doggies. So I sent her a picture of my 2 doggies.
Yep.
And she said, awesome, beautiful doggies and everything. Thanks for, adopting and raising these doggies. And I said, I said, well, Jamie, thanks for all you do for the doggies. I said, just want to let you know here at Lake Norman Humane, we're digging hard and getting ready to open a new facility here shortly and going to have a lot of fanfare going on. And she goes, well, maybe I could do, and she has something, I feel bad that I don't know the exact name of what she is, but when she's in a certain town, she will do a drop-in. She'll
nice.
do a kennel drop-in or something. And she says, well, perhaps... when we come to Charlotte, we could do a kennel drop-in at Lake Norman Humane. And so I said, we would love to have you. Because I think she's involved with some other organizations that when she does do the drop-in, that will either donate product or something like that.
Nice. Yeah.
Looking forward, by way of social media, of having Jamie come by and visit Lake Norman Humane when the facility is up and running.
Yeah, no, that's super cool. That's I've always, I follow her on social media as well, and I always have known that she's a big animal lover, dog lover.
Yep, crazy dog person. Just adopted another one. I just adopted a beautiful little doggie.
Wow.
Scout or Ranger or something. It's a beautiful little dog.
Yeah. No, that's cool. That's cool. And we would open our doors up widely for her, and would love to have her do a drop in. That would be super cool. So social media shout out for me. Most people probably already follow him, and a lot of people probably seen a lot of his posts over the weekend and the week leading up to the weekend. But so Greg Biffle, obviously good friend of mine, business partner. So he went and did the Lemons race in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania over the weekend, Saturday, Sunday. It was a 16-hour race. They did 8 hours on Saturday, 8 hours on Sunday. A lot of social media stuff about it. He went live on his Instagram several times and looked like they had a ton of fun up there. I caught up with him a little bit on Monday, texting back and forth. He said it was a blast. He goes in a couple of weeks to Kershaw to do a true 24-hour Lemons race, 24 straight hours.
If you look at it, it's spelled like Le Mans, but it is Lemons.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's a playoff of that kind of. So, but they had a good time. They finished second in their class. At one point on Saturday, they were down 11 laps.
Nice.
They worked their way back up to the lead lap. They were within a handful of minutes of the leader.
With a ringer.
So
ringer driver.
Yeah. But it looked like they had a great time. Their social media content was really good. I followed along with them quite a bit throughout the week and over the weekend, and looked like they had a blast. So if you don't follow Greg on social media, make sure you do. At G Biffle on Instagram. He's on Facebook. Obviously, a real big Twitter following. I think I don't know what he's up to. Roughly 300,000 or so, I think, followers on Twitter. But real active on social media. He does a lot of fun stuff, so he's a good one to follow along if you're not already. And that's all I got for social media, John. So clear to close. I think we're ready to wrap up. We're about 53 minutes in, so we're about at that time. And let's do a clear to close here and wrap the show up. What do you got for clear to close today, John?
Well, I just think when everybody gets going these days, I think when you look at what people do in America as opposed to maybe 20, 25 years ago, everybody's working so much right now. There's so many people that have their hands in so many different pots and everything, and you really need to slow down, take a little break, and there's no better thing like with the racing off this weekend. I know a lot of guys have gone to the islands and everything. It doesn't matter really if you go to the islands or whatever.
Yep.
Just take a few.
Take time to reflect,
Just sit back, relax.
Yep.
Eat ham or whatever you want to eat, or go hunting Easter eggs or whatever you want to do.
Right.
Whatever you're inclined to do, it's going to be. There's something about this time of year. It seems like it's always beautiful.
Yeah.
I remember growing up in D.C. It was always sunny on Easter Sunday. It just seemed like it was always sunny. But just kick back, reflect. Spend some time with family and friends, and then start digging again Monday morning. But take a quick break.
Yeah, and I'm sure there will be a lot of, obviously I follow, like you do as well, a lot of the NASCAR people. And with an off weekend, man, I'm seeing everybody, their vacations, a lot of them started today.
Yeah.
So they go in the shop and work Monday, Tuesday. Then they're off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So a lot of them were at airports today.
A lot of blue water, a lot of
flying to their
sand.
Destinations. Yep. So a lot of them are going to beaches and islands and having fun, so good for them.
Life's a beach.
That's right. So for me, clear to close, kind of the same deal from last week. Just like to, highlight a few a few events coming up that I'll be a part of, and I'm looking forward to them. The first one is next Tuesday night, John, is the RPAC investor event. That's at the Peninsula Club in Cornelius. Looking forward to that. I've been a contributor and a major investor in RPAC since 2014. I really stand behind what they do. I do feel that through advocacy, that we can really help, get the right people in office and influence the right legislation to help private property owners. And so that's near and dear to me. I'm a big supporter of that. We got a big investor event coming up next Tuesday. So looking forward to that, hanging out with a bunch of my realtor friends that'll be there. Always fun catching up with them. Obviously, let's see, May 4th through the 8th, I'll be in San Diego for the T3 Summit. It's a real estate conference. I'll be out there for 4 days. So looking forward to that. That'll be a lot of fun. Right before that, we've got the Pooches on the Patio event at the Midway Smokehouse, I believe it is, in Burkdale. I think you and Tracy are involved in that. And that's the 28th of April, so not this Saturday, but the following Saturday or Sunday. I think it's a Sunday brunch type thing, right? And they're so you can go take your pooches with you, hang out on the patio, do brunch, and a portion of all the proceeds that day are going to go back to Lake Norman Humane. So we're certainly grateful for that. So if you have nothing on your calendar for April 28th for brunch after or during the morning and early afternoon hours there, stop by, see John and Tracy. I think Lake Norman Humane is going to have some dogs and stuff there, so should be a lot of fun. And then the final thing, keeping on board with Lake Norman Humane, our grand opening for the new facility that's located at 2106 Charlotte Highway in Mooresville. John, I had a site construction meeting there yesterday morning. The place is looking beautiful. I mean, yesterday we met with the designers and just finalizing paint colors and flooring materials. And so that place is coming along very quickly. I'm super excited about, seeing the progress there and even more excited to get the building done. Our grand opening is scheduled for June 19th. I know your wife, Tracy, is chairing that building committee or the committee, the events committee that's planning that event. And, the last time I got to catch up with her, she basically filled my ear with all the fun stuff that was going to be going on there. So going on there. That's going to be a great event. A good event for kids too. I mean, I think they're going to have stuff for kids to do, face painting and different things, I believe. So I'm going to paint my face. Yeah, follow along Lake Norman Humane on social media. They're doing some weekly updates about that event. Also giving updates regarding the building, some amateur video going through there, kind of showing the building off and stuff like that. So if you don't follow Lake Norman Humane, make sure you do. But June 19, mark your calendars. That's a 3 to 7 afternoon event. I believe that's on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. Should be a lot of fun. So there's a few things I got coming up over the next 60 days or so. Going to be a busy couple of months. It's going to be a busy summer. But good fun. But a lot of fun. A lot of good things going on with Lake Norman Humane, with NASCAR, with real estate stuff. So, John, I wish we could sit here and talk more. I got to head down to Huntersville. I got to show some houses tonight to a buyer client. I'm sure you've got a lot of things going on as well that you need to jump off here and do. Got to report home to the boss lady. Yeah, she is going to be waiting. So, all right, John. Like always, it's a lot of fun. We will catch up with everybody next week. Stay tuned. Check us out. We're on all of your social media channels. Listen to this on Spreaker, iTunes, YouTube. We make it easy to find, so we appreciate you listening and continuing to follow along and support us. And we will be back in front of all of you on your favorite tuning device next week. We'll see you then. Good day.